I told Brad about this. We had a friend that someone showed up to drop the kids off, do all this stuff, and then I'm talking to him after he drops the kids off, and he's like, "Yeah, we all have COVID."
I still need to tell you my COVID story, Mike.
You do drop the kids off, do all this stuff, and then I'm talking to him after.
Some major feedback, huh?
Well, that's a late loop.
It's almost as late as Corey.
It's almost as late as that's what she said.
Yeah. Were you eating sausage?
Of course, man. I'm
Going
going double. I'm double. I'm
I
getting
just
double
guessed.
teamed here.
And all I couldn't tell what it was, but
Well,
it's a meat
sticking
stick,
wieners in my mouth.
Yeah, well, it's just like the meme with the hot dogs. So.
The party over here, dude.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today?
We actually got some SEO stuff to talk about today. I was gonna hope Corey was gonna be here, dude.
He's the only one that does SEO here.
I know, right? Like, come on, dude. Where the hell, dude? Hold on, let me find my notes. Where are these? Let's turn it over. Did we end up doing making things too complicated, or that was the day we didn't end up doing it? I think. Right?
I think we talked about that last time, right?
Did we?
I'd have to review my notes. I don't know. You want to make things complicated today? Not be prepared when you hop on here. That makes things too complicated.
Let's try to remember what we did 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's going to be a sticker.
I think it might have been 3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, it's been 3, but the quote for today was basically, above all, it is necessary for a person to have a true self-estimate, for we commonly think we can do more than we really can. Now, to me, that's huge for business, dude. Like
that is why my wife can't get anywhere on time, because she overestimates what she can do in a very small amount of time.
It's true. And in an SEO kind of situation, in a business kind of situation, we all know that leads to like complete like failure of contract, failure of campaigns, overestimation, right? So I guess the question is going to start with like, Fletch, what's one time you think that you overestimated capabilities or underestimated like self-assessment, but also like take this to a team, take this to a business level, not just yourself, right?
So I can't just say when I got married. I thought I knew exactly what it was going to be like, and it turned out that I underestimated the.
Did you live together before, or wait till after?
Now Natalie and I only met about 7 months before we got married.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah, no, I had a place in Tempe, and she was up here in Phoenix. So yeah, like on the business side, the thing is, it's a tendency for us because our mind is so capable of having all these different things going on, and we can envision them, so it seems like we can do them. Mm-hmm. And until you really take it out of the context of your mind and put it on paper or schedule, it's like, okay, it's going to take me an hour to do that. Like you might be accurate on that assessment to say it's going to take me an hour to log into a website and go through the back end and look at how things are set up, how many pages they have, how many images they have, all that kind of thing, and then put together a report. That might be accurate. But until you get it out of your head and on paper, can you start to see how things need to get scheduled and really how much might go into it? I think one of the big problems, or this being the problem we're talking about, a lot of it could be eliminated or at least reduced quite a lot when you get it out of your head, you put it on paper and you put it together with, some other stuff. So you're actually looking at something and saying, does this look reasonable? Because in our mind, we'll just say, oh, well, I can do that harder or faster or get somebody else to help me or whatever. And you don't really look at the scenario from a perspective where you aren't really having all the lenses of, I can work harder or stay up later or do any of these number of things that we tell ourselves we can do all the time. One of the things that I've done to address that in my own life is to try to get it out of my head, write it down, look at it, say, it's unreasonable you can run 4 businesses right now. Like, what are you going to give up to be able to get any of these over that threshold or that tipping point to really, get traction and go? And it's like, well, I do stuff from the time I wake up till I go to bed. What am I going to not do to make time for this? And that kind of inventory of Like this is, you're spending all your time anyway. What are you going to give up to have enough time to take on some new project or grow one of your businesses to a different level or something like that? It's been helpful. Yeah.
Balance. I think that like really just comes back to balance for me too, because without self-assessment, it's almost impossible to balance your day. It's almost impossible to balance your life, because giving up temporarily doesn't necessarily mean giving up everything at forever and not working towards it, because you may be able to give something up in the meantime, in this week not. And if you actually are assessing like capabilities of your business, capabilities of yourself, then it's amazing what you can find time for that it didn't look like you had time to do, right? At least that's what I've been finding as I'm throwing more balance into my life over the last year or so, is that it frees up more time for me.
I was guilty of it when I first got into SEO and had those first few client meetings, overestimating my abilities at that point. I had just read this or just gone through these videos. I can fucking do that. That seems easy. And instead of trying it out on my own sites and everything, I go out and I try and land a client because everyone else around me seemed to be landing clients. So I go do that, and I'm like, especially with reputation management. That seems like it should be so simple, right? But it's a pain in the ass.
Well, it's like you're ranking 10 websites instead of one.
Yeah, exactly. But like it's for all branded terms. You're like, this would be fucking easy, and then you're like, oh, that ain't easy.
Well, what you said there, Brad, is like really big. It's like, I can do this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can. And then as soon as we say we can, like our mind shifts, and now we want that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then you look for justification. Yeah, I can figure this is going to be easy, or it's not going to take too much time, or anything like that. Like that, when we hear ourselves say, "Oh, I can do that," that should be like a red flag that we're waving, saying, "Hey, really take a look at this and see what's going to take."
I see a lot of people do that in the investing world too. They'll get in a decent market, catch the end of the uptrend, and they made $1,000 in a day or whatever, and then shit goes, and they're like, no, you're just not mentally prepared.
I was not prepared.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So the quote, this one here, Corey, let me read this to you because I don't think you heard this, and there's a couple people asking what the quote was. Above all, it is necessary for a person to have true self-estimate, for we commonly think we can do more than we really can. Seneca on the tranquility of mind. And like what I said, to me, it's huge when it comes to business. Like self-assessment, business, personal, it just really doesn't matter. And the question was, what's a time that you or your business, like you overestimated, underestimated yourself, your business, that it caused issue in your campaigns or whatever, dude. If you want to go personal, go personal.
Well, man, I mean, that's a great quote, and I think it's kind of been repackaged a few times. I'm sure everybody's familiar with the quote from Bill Gates. Not that I endorse anything from that guy, except for maybe spreadsheets.
His spreadsheets are nice. I've been looking at a lot of them lately.
But he said people often overestimate what they can accomplish in a year and underestimate what they can accomplish in 10 years. So and that goes right back to like looking at yourself and saying, okay, who am I today? And what does the person I am, who I am today, deserve in life? And look around and you're like, I guess it's everything that I have right now, which means only one thing is that I'm not the person that I need to be in order to be deserving of the things that I want in life. So that means every day I freaking wake up and I look at this version of Corey in the mirror and I shoot this mofo in the face. Every single day, he's got to die.
I just look in the mirror and cry.
He's got to freaking die. but this version of this guy has to freaking die because
like shedding a skin.
It's like everybody who gets started in business, you have this huge rapid rise, and you're like, man, things are going pretty good. I guess they're going to keep going good. I'm going to take it easy, and then you lose that innovation, you lose that drive. You lose those things that put you right where you were when you first started, and then they're back on the decline, and then you're like, oh crap.
Just like Rocky 3. He wasn't ready for Mr. T. He was fighting bums.
Mick told him.
Mick told him. Yeah, listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, like, dude, self-assessment, like, I've been thinking about it a hell of a lot lately, and I think that a lot of people don't do nearly enough of it when it comes to their business. Let's just take, like, a website, dude, and a link campaign, like, seriously. Self-assessment of what's there, I think people don't go deep enough into their link campaign. They don't go and looking enough at, like, what backlinks pointing to them are ranking for. They don't look at that kind of thing. They don't understand, like, how the quality of a backlink is important. Same thing when it comes to, like, personal life, dude. No one wants to look at the reason they do shit. Like, what's the deep down seated reason that I make these stupid decisions? I get in these arguments, you know? So I think without the ability to, like, truly, like, sit down, self-assess, it's like we put ourselves in a situation where we have a lot harder of a time in life and in business, man. Brad, did you have anything you could think of campaign wise that was like, that we had, like, we overestimated or anything, dude? Like, where, like,
there were some traffic campaigns that we probably overestimated,
Yeah.
but they still made money, just not as much money as the end client was looking to get, especially in one specific substance abuse campaign where we were just cranking out servers, and they were expecting, I think, 500 or so leads a month, but they couldn't have even handled it if
Dude,
they had done that.
Like, the self-assessment, like, without it, you can't truly get people ready for what to expect. Like, and it can be the difference, like, in a case like that, where someone's happy with what you can do, or they're expecting more than what you can actually do. So now they're unhappy even with the success, right?
Yeah.
So, like, when Fletch talks about engineering everything, it's straight up true. Like, if you're not self-assessing everything, then you're setting this whole thing up for failure. You're going to make disappointment real.
In that campaign specifically, too, we were dealing with someone that was then reselling it. So we hyped it to them, and then they took that and they way overinflated what they charged. So the end person actually paying for it was not getting enough leads based on, you know, the amount that they were paying. So that was kind of, it's what happens when you kind of you tier out your money making, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's a hard one there for the person reselling too, because they're not used to doing those estimates themselves. So bolstering something.
I mean, when you charge someone $5K a server and they end up charging $25K a server, you know, it's kind of,
there's profit on the initial, there's profit on 2 of them, but there's not profit on necessarily 4 times the amount.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So I've got some questions today. We want to talk some SEO.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. So I had one, like, someone asked about multi-language sites. They're wondering if hreflang passes link juice. You know, they didn't mention Canonical itself, but they're basically, is there any way to pass link juice to a new language site without building links to the new language site? I'm using a subfolder currently for hreflang. So subfolder is huge right there to me, but what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, when you're talking like a new site, you're talking like you've got domain.com and then you've got domain.co.uk and trying to do that? Or
actually, let's address that. But this question is actually asking about using a subfolder for the alternate version, which I like.
Yeah, which I think is preferable for the same reasons. I mean, you get the domain authority immediately. That's why I like, you know, when clients that I have want to roll out a brand new thing, I'm like, let's put a subdomain on your domain. We're not starting from scratch. It's the same concept.
Well, in this case too, it's actually a subfolder, which is huge as well, because
which is even better.
Yeah, it's easier than a subdomain. Yeah.
So like modular links are huge in that case. Like we went over this in
Monthly last
week, and modular links are huge in this case, where that's going to need to be in a template link. That should go into a modular site, like footer, main nav, or sidebar. It should be a modular link in that case.
So that, I think the question said though, without any links. Now, what specifically do you think that's addressing without any links?
I assume they're talking about external.
They're talking about external, and that is right. Now, I do believe, and it's been a while since I've even worried about it, I do believe there's some juice, there's some relevant juice that is going to pass through the hreflang tag anyways. But when you have a situation like that, your modular links are huge, dude. If you bring in a site-wide link from the whole English site into that subfolder, and then your template switches, and now you're linking into all of this and that, you're literally you're taking PageRank, funneling it in, and then distributing out into the new language, and you're building the relevance on that. Like, good question for you, Corey, Fletch, and Brad. Me, I don't care about the language. I care about the topical relevancy, and I do believe that they see topical relevancy based on the actual item rather than the language and the term. Like, to me, like casa and house, there's going to be relevance between those two in there. What are your guys' thoughts?
100%.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't get that granular where it has to be. Yeah.
So, but the thing is like, right? No, that's wrong. Brother Carruthers. Yeah. So when you do get that translation, and I've seen guys roll out sites in multiple, languages where you just drop the whole thing into Google Translate and then you repost it. You have no idea how to speak, Russian or Norwegian or whatever, but or German. But what you're doing is you're taking Google's machine and you are translating the way that Google sees that into the best version of it. It might not read so well, but I think that actually does a good job to get it to rank. I mean, the copywriting and getting somebody to actually click on something, that might be a different story.
That's a different story, of course. Like, we're talking about purely PageRank at this point, and when it comes down to pure PageRank and well, I mean, they shifted the PageRank patent to a relevant PageRank patent like 10 years ago, something, whatever. And I think people compartmentalize too much and don't realize that, like, if Google has a translation function and they can translate your content, like you just said, then they obviously understand what the content means. And they understand that a home or a house, depending on how you frame that on a page, is the same thing as casa, And I think people miss that. And when people are buying links, when people are building links, they get all turned off by the language of a link, where I think they're missing a hell of a lot in a lot of cases if they're turning it down based on the language of a link. So what are your thoughts, guys, on the language of that anchor text?
I would agree. If you think about how Google, as just Google or any search engine really, they've got to get things into math to be able to compare it. And, math is numbers, and it's a single language. So, like, in one way, shape, or form, everything's going to have to be categorized, and that's where your relevance comes from. Like, I found a bunch of domains that I've used and that worked really well that had mostly Asian links, but I took the time to go and look at Google Translate and see what the page was about, and it was like, this is actually a good link. It just, I didn't understand what in the heck it was when I was, going through an auction site or whatever to figure it out. But then this points to a whole bunch of different things, like what Corey's talking about, like it points to then having, well, if I have a bigger site now with multiple languages, I've got potentially a lot more relevance pointing back to itself, in kind of a hub or, wheel or however you organize and structure that actually might be a good thing for your site, depending on whether or not you're getting traffic. One of the other things I was going to ask, just kind of based on that question, like I know a lot of people that are overseas and their native language Google experience tends to lag somewhat behind what we experience here in the US and English speakers natively. So, what are you guys' thoughts on that? Like, are we the pilot project, so to speak?
I feel like certain sectors of the country are actually, they get it first, right? Especially from local. Like San Diego always seems to get the newest features for GMB or what's the paid program at the top?
Shopping.
No, the PPL for local.
The guarantee, Google Guarantee.
Yeah, Google Guarantee. They seem to roll that out there first and a few other choice areas. But that always seemed to, then it ends up rolling out to the rest of the country eventually. And in other niches. I mean, they hit certain niches first.
And the other direction, actually, so like the Question Hub was in India and a couple other countries for years before they rolled it out here this past, 3 months ago, because they needed content in that country. And now once they've proven it, now they've integrated. Once you see it roll out to the US after being out for years, then that's obvious what's going on there. Like they're using this now. So like these types of indicators are places we should be paying attention to as marketers, I think. So yeah, I think that it kind of goes both ways, Fletch. I really do. I think that what you said about the buying a domain with a bunch of links from another spot, there's a couple options there, like recently that work, and redirecting that content into a new domain, having that translated back out from Google back into English, and then targeting there. They're passing near 100% page rank on that is what it looks like.
What are you drinking, Corey?
One.
Yeah, smoothie?
Yeah, I'm drinking
Damn, just straight basil?
You're
Just-
Hardcore.
Drinking out of Classico jars, bro. I do the same thing.
I like to go to the gym with a Hershey syrup bottle that's been cleaned out and just got water in it and just drink that. I'm like, what in these shit? In between rounds. Yeah.
So any country ranking benefit to having subfolder for different version of the same language, Spanish for Maine, Mexico, Colombia, to rank the same TLD in all 3 countries. I have not tested multiple href laying and been able to test the difference between Spanish and Mexican Spanish, you know?
Yeah, Paul, I will comment on one aspect of that that I've seen a couple times roll out, where they'll actually build out the exact same domain except .com. It's like .mx, or whatever Spain's TLD is, and then they'll have links to that down in the footer of the .com site, and they'll all be interlinking to each other. And I've seen that work really well, especially in the e-commerce space.
For a domain, yes. Subfolder, I would think it would work better. And there's some things you can do with certain types of redirects there that would work extremely well. And just making sure wherever you're doing it that you're flowing page rank. That my question, the interesting test to me would be Mexican Spanish versus, the like literally the language on a single domain, Mexican versus Spanish,
Colombian,
and like different
Spain,
South American dialect type stuff. That
Puerto Rico.
What's that?
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Let me see. Some ideas. There you go. Exactly. I think it's actually something to think about with the.
Don't give Robert any ideas.
Blackwood, dude. I really. That's
after he had a haircut.
That's not him.
Picture.
No,
That's him. That's him. Look at him. That's big.
Not enough tattoos, dude. Okay, so let me go through the ones I got. So here's a question about reducing spam score for a website. Now, I assume they're talking about AdWords, if they're getting a spam score number from something. So,
well, it's probably something that you would be looking at from a third party. Google's not going to give you a spam score from GSC.
I'm thinking of like
Majestic or
is what I'm thinking of, but actually you're right. It said reduce, not increase. So I think you're right.
How do I increase my spam score?
So
Fiverr.
There's a lot of questions that have been coming over from
building from Fiverr
about internal linking. And I think it's because we did the stuff last week on internal structure. The question is about like what's better, silos or a topic cluster, and I think that people get confused on what silos are and what.
Silos would essentially be a topic
thing.
Cluster. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's like
silos are like this is what we were talking about: centralized and decentralized websites. We were talking about modular and contextual links, right? So like clusters, dude, that's where you take advantage of your contextual stuff. Like that's how you build your topical cluster out. For a silo, a physical silo, you're using a modular link structure for that. Like you're using a sidebar, footer, whatever, and so this is it's a situation where I would say you need to look at what you're trying to do with your conversion rather than like just looking at your internal linking from an SEO standpoint. To me, you're gonna filter your page rank based on how you're converting. If you're a centralized site, you're gonna have like a single landing page, and you want all of that freaking juice to rank that page, dude. But if you're decentralized, then you're gonna be wanting to rank multiple pages,
right?
And that's where the topic cluster comes in. So. You got
and tiered, like you I know that you're a huge fan of this, Mike, but you've got your topic you've got your pillar piece of content, and then you might have a couple supporting articles that actually have traffic, and those are some other pillars that are supporting the main one. And then underneath each one of those, you've got the smaller articles that are 100, 200 pages that are more like FAQ that you can just like circle around them, each one of those, which is another circle around your main pillar piece.
Yeah.
And I think
I've got a question since Corey brought it up, Mike. I know, like he said, you're big into tiers. Can you tell everyone the benefit of tiered link building versus just singular, flat link building? Just off page, what, in your opinion, just broken down as simply as possible, is the benefit of tiered link building, and does it still work? Does it still work with SEO?
Yeah, it's a relevance magnifier. It also has benefits to the way things are crawled, especially with like incremental stuff. I mean, I'm sorry, progressive, incremental, progressive, kind of the same thing. It really, I like the relevance magnification and the magnification of metrics, really. So, and then of course, like the crawl. Without the crawl, nothing matters. Honestly.
So tiered link building creates additional relevance, power, and helps boost your crawl budget.
And on that note, it also filters as well. Like you can take something that's less relevant and make it more relevant before it hits your site.
I feel like people forget about tiered link building, and I know you use it a ton, so I wanted to make sure to ask it since Corey brought it up.
Honestly, like don't do anything, but and it was interesting. Someone said that someone's talking about the ineffectiveness of the effectiveness of tiered link building going down, and I'm just sitting there laughing inside because
they're not doing it right.
It's all the same thing. Like you can't not have tiers, dude. Like if you have links from a page that doesn't have links, it's not nearly as beneficial as having a page from links that have links or ranking, dude. So it's kind of, I think that anyone who's saying that doesn't really understand what they're doing, to be honest. So I don't know who's saying that, but I would say they need to do a little more research and maybe a little more testing.
One of the things that, like, when I actually started understanding SEO, as opposed to like, I learned it and I did what other people told me to do and it worked, but I was trying to really understand what in the heck was going on with, like, how do these things rank? Why do they rank? What is Google really trying to do? One of the things that I kind of started fleshing out, and then it turned out to be very helpful for me to begin understanding what I was trying to do online to rank sites and get traffic to sites, is I began looking at like natural systems, like a watershed that has a whole bunch of different streams that are very small, that feed into bigger streams that are related because they're connected. And then those, middle tier streams pour into the main trunk of the thing that's going to carry most of the power, most of the water, right? And so that representation, you can look at it in sociology as well, as far as influence of a population. Like, it's like, okay, well, this person knows this person, and there's 5 other people like him that know this person.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Yeah,
it's a little bit like that. And when you start to look at the network that is, the internet and the World Wide Web, as that is what Google is trying to assess and say, okay, who is important for these topics? And so we can say, okay, what's this topic? And then we can start to say, well, there's a bunch of people who talk about this topic, and who are they pointing toward? And they point to one, and then that person's pointing to another, and that person's pointing to this one trunk. And it turns out that there's a whole bunch of stuff out here that's all pointing to this trunk. And that's really how Google starts to assess what is the key player here that all of these different entities have in common, that they're all eventually pointing toward because of lending, a link, right? Saying that's where
that's a good visual, man. And when you get to that, that cleared some things up even for me, and I'm like, been doing it for a while, but you get to that one final trunk or that page. That's why it's important, like, to not link out to a competitor or
it's extremely important, especially on your primary pages, dude. Your primary pages should only be linking internally, dude.
Right, and or linking to, like, everybody likes to link to authority sites and everything.
Wikipedia.
It's a horrible idea.
It is. So what I like to do in that case, even my content writers, I ask them for a works cited. and they'll go in and they'll have, just the numbers and everything, and they'll have all these external links. And so I just kill the links, but I leave the URL there on the page in case, Google's looking for it. But you don't lose anything like that. You're actually adding to it if somebody wants to do more research.
Google likes research. Google loves technical type of writing, dude. They love, like, if you look at scholars, Google Scholar, like I think Holly asked a question on Tuesday about like authorship for everything. And I love when there were the authorship tags, but for me, like any way you can establish a real identity and then build the relevance to the entity you need to build, that's what you want to be doing. Like
I had my face all over the SERPs back in the day. It was hilarious.
Yep. There was a question that came through on in this group that I kind of answer questions in, and it was about, should I name my business, I won't say the market, but service near me? And my answer was, like I asked, are you trying to, manipulate search by the name of your business? Because there's other ways to do that. But if
were they going national for a national brand, or were they like a local plumber that was
type service, dude?
Yeah.
And they wanted to name the business, the LLC, like the service near me. And
I mean, at that point, it would make more sense to do like Greensboro Auto Repair. Just name
that's
it
what I said. I said, if you really want to manipulate your search, dude, then go after like a locale rather than near me. But again, I said, you can do that in other ways. Like you don't have to name your business that. And I think there is something to miss out on when it comes to a brand name and building an entity around a brand. I truly do believe that there is something you can miss out on, because establishing pure relevance for an individual business is a lot easier than to establish pure relevance for a keyword phrase that everyone is targeting. And to me, there's a lot to get washed out in if you're trying to establish your business as the top entity for locksmith in Greensboro or Greensboro locksmith, right? That's a bigger job than going with Mabry locks. Just to me, there's a lot more.
Mostly because you tend to overdo it on your backlinks and think that it's okay.
There's a huge reason why. But there was a question also about goes back to the tiered linking, and it was about a dude had analyzed a competitor, right? And he's looking at it, and he's like, "Oh, there's just 20 spammy backlinks here," and the key to me on the question was, the DA is bad. The DA is bad. The DA is bad. But they have tons of traffic coming to their site. I don't understand. Is this a black hat technique? So 20 backlinks doesn't take into consideration what the second level of links are. The DA thing to me is a horrible way to analyze stuff. I mean, do you guys?
Moz takes so long to crawl and find links anyway. So and that's what essentially boosts DA, right? I would rather go by DR than DA, to be honest, because Ahrefs crawls it much quicker. And even at that point, I don't care as much about DR.
No, I'd much rather know how the page is ranking and how the page is behaving with traffic and metrics than worry about a third-party metric. And that was a big indicator to me, was that they were paying attention to third-party metrics. Fletch and Corey, do you guys pay attention to those third parties, or like what are you doing with your analysis right now?
Well, they catch my attention. Sure. When I'm going through and looking at stuff, I notice them. What I think would be extremely helpful is if one of these companies took the data they have and put together an extrapolation, so to speak, of this website is ranking for 5 keywords we track in the top 5 and getting this much traffic for them. Like that would be a much more impactful metric for me to start looking at.
Now people go out and buy links. Yeah, they buy links based on these third-party metrics that don't necessarily take that into account. I think that's a huge point, Fletch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do use them as a baseline when I'm just doing some preliminary research. I think that just depending on what what market you're getting into, for the most part, you can get a decent idea from DA to at least show somebody who is new to the SEO space, like say a potential client, and
I was
just
going to say it's easy to show clients that.
Yeah, and because
easy for
they're
them to understand.
Like Brad's process is pretty close to what I like, and that like when we're building a network, that dude, it's going to be DR or some metrics is going to catch our attention.
RD, I typically look at referring domains.
Yeah, exactly, and then easily, like really, like optimally take that list that catches your attention based on DR referring domains and throw that into ranking into SEMrush and look at what's ranking and what kind of terms are ranked for in there, and you have a really good analysis of the backlink that you're going to be building with this, or the domain that you are. Now, if it's dropped, and if you're catching stuff or you're doing expireds, there's a different story there because history is cool. If you have history, then take a look at it. But I do think that a lot of people that are buying links are buying based on the wrong things at this point. And I said the other day about buying links or on tiers not working. It's very easy to go buy a service and not have it work if you don't know what you're doing. Because you can fake DR all day long, you can fake DA all day long. It's not hard to do. Like you can build those metrics. I can give you a service that costs $5 to go build a 30 DR, dude. Like
but does it rank? And I think that ultimately you want to see what's ranking and kind of look at some of those metrics based on the actual query and what's right, just to get a little bit of a gap analysis to kind of understand how much it's going to take to rank.
Here's a SEO business idea for everyone. Go out and get the service from Mike that builds it for $5. Set up like 20 to 30 sites. 5 times 30 is what, 150? Yeah. So you're $150 in plus the $10 that you paid for the domain, and so you've got all these high DR sites. They're all on separate IPs and everything. So you set them up right, and then go sell it to new SEOs. That's what people make a ton of money.
Dude, no, there's literally people buying services like that and then selling links all over the place, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a bunch of nonsense. It's a total scam industry. Like, you really do need to know where you're.
That is why they're kicking SEOs off of places like Fiverr and stuff like that.
Dude, I could go literally with no budget. I could have amazing looking link network within a month and be selling links all over it if I was
on the next Undercover Millionaire
on a site that doesn't rank for anything.
Yeah,
exactly. And that's why it's important to understand for people that are new is like understand what you need, because there's a lot of stuff that looks great out there. There always has been. It doesn't mean it's going to do a damn thing for you.
Yeah. Well, and I think ultimately you want to kind of approach it from the idea that really there are no shortcuts for doing things the right way, unless you're planning on churning and burning a bunch of sites. There's a shortcut for you. It works. It's good. It's a skill to be developed. But for actually building out a money site for somebody who a
long-term asset.
Exactly. Like there's no shortcuts to that. Like, it's going to be content. It's going to be more content. It's going to be the right kinds of links coming from the right kinds of sites. And Mike, as I think you've pointed out a lot of times, your best links are probably going to come from sites that have like 20, RDs, because they're super niche.
Relevant.
They got a low DA, but all they talk about is this one thing.
When someone with passion writes an amazing article and it gets pushed out to like 10 people that love that and have a passion about that, those types of things suck down traffic like crazy, and grabbing that backlink is so freaking valuable, right?
It's like forums.
So
exactly.
When you start to like, it's the mini-net stuff, like all the free training we're doing right now for people, literally, like when you treat things like they're quality, they become quality over time. And now you have a network of 200 websites that are all ranking for different things that are the perfect source of freaking niche edits, guest blog posts, whatever the hell you want to call them, dude. Like, they're the perfect source of links at that point. So if you take that same kind of concept for like your link purchasing or like your link begging, whatever you're doing, this is where you start to build effective links, right?
Yeah.
So it's just interesting, like that it's still missed in the industry. I guess it's because there's always new people coming in, and I guess it takes time to see that. Is what it's. I don't know.
And like one of the things, it's like it's like the whole get rich quick thing. People want this to happen really fast, and it can. Obviously, there's ways to do that, but if you want to make sure that you win, a lot of people just don't take the time necessary to go through and really look at at what's happening, right? Where links are coming from, how many domains are pointing to it, what are those domains about? Read a couple articles, see what they're linking to. Like, if you take the time to do the research, you can almost guarantee you won't lose. Right? You might miss a couple opportunities. It might take you a few more months or whatever, but you're not going to lose. You're not going to not rank well if you start to collect these types of things.
Mhm.
And, it's got that kind of mindset of like, oh, if I do this and hit it right, 2 years from now, I can be done. It's like this constant magnet that's pulling a lot of people, especially newer people that are coming into the industry to want to. It's not even, I don't think that people see it as cutting corners. They just say, oh, it's not necessary.
Well, I think it's engineering a market for yourself. Like, if you want to sell things in a market, you don't want the knowledge to escape. So an air of mysticism is huge. Like, for freaking take painting freaking models for like, so Games Workshop has a whole paint line that you need a different color to do every stage of painting something that you can actually just do with water and a few different paints, right? But they don't talk about that part of it, like the actual mixing of color and how to use like opacity and moisture control to do everything you want to do. They want to sell you like this product, that product, this product, and all these products are just different levels of opacity and moisture of the same damn paint.
Well, that can be a way to sell stuff too. I mean, if it's a pain in the ass to do that, you show them exactly how to do it, and then you're like, okay.
That's the thing. It's showing it. I think that's the way I like it.
Show it, and then you're like, all right, you want the easy button? Here you go. If you really want to sell paint or whatever,
Exactly.
Becker back in the day was notorious for that. He would have a webinar, and I mean that's the model for internet marketers. Is you show them how to do this, and you make it seem. You even add in steps. You make it complicated. Okay, here's the easy button, and then they're all juiced up, and they buy it.
And it's the same in any market. That's why I brought up the other one, is because I think the right way is to show it and to be truthful, let people figure it out if they want to and do it, and then sell it to those that just want to save time. But luckily, even when you do it that way, a lot of people just want the easy button. I mean, everyone wants the easy button.
It's natural for people to do that. Yeah.
I
keep trying to find Corey's easy button, but
I
nowhere to be found.
It's right here.
Yeah, right.
So, question about what is the ratio between no follow and follow links? What percentage should I have? And
I never look at it.
Me neither. There's no right answer there. It's a trap in my.
Yeah, it is. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, I mean, I think like there's so many weeds you can get out of when you rank a few sites and you're like, oh shoot, I guess all of the the DAS stacks that I've been building and focused on and doing them the right way. It doesn't. I guess those didn't matter because those sites are not ranking as well as these sites that I just built with good content. Got a couple links shot to it and have the internal structure right. Like you start realizing the things that actually make a site rank, and it makes your job a lot easier.
Well, it's funny back in the day. Certain groups were scaring people away from PBN style links, and I'm talking just PBN like links that you control in general, not the traditional just straight blog roll where you've got a chiropractor.
Groups like the alphabet, like Google.
Well, that too, yeah. But I mean other groups that I won't mention them. But they honestly did a very good job because they scared the shit out of me from using PBNs for a little bit, at least 6 months or more. And then I get back into it. I was like, fuck, this is easy. Like, why was I not doing this the whole time? And then Mike and I developed the Mininet stuff. And then it made it like even easier at that point because we knew what to focus on and we had tested and everything like that. So it's like, there's a lot of misinformation and social engineering out there just in the SEO realm. I know that it's everywhere, but yeah, just be careful and test on your own if you can.
Well, and like going back, like Corey mentioned, like DAS stack or whatever, like not to talk too much about that, but like that was one of the pieces that helped me start to look at like the watershed or like the social group. It's like
take a DAS stack and use your own network of sites.
Use the word relevant.
Yeah.
Now you're stacking relevance.
Well, it's a cluster, and that's what it comes down to.
Right? Yeah.
It's a cluster.
Cluster fuck is what it is.
It was a
Clusterfuck SEO. I'm gonna get the domain.
Hey, I'm going first. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna start advertising that shit on Facebook. See how many dumbasses we can get this on. Clusterfuck SEO. We'll fuck your shit up real good, man. Come on.
Clusterfuck SEO. Dude.
You need to go get that.
That was too funny.
Cam already got it, he said.
I got someone sent me a sheet of backlinks like with no information other than just the page, and it's interesting. Like I've been noticing lately that there's like a lot of someone must be doing some sort of marketing, because there's a lot of people coming out and asking about third-party metrics right now, and then asking like questions that show like a lack of knowledge in what is in search. Is that what you said?
You know, show Cameron's comment.
Sir, I have domains for sale, sir.
Oh, dude. I still get the nice buy my guest posts or I'm going to negative SEO your website.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite, dude. Okay.
I got one. It was a fellow with an Indian accent that called me today from a local number. And it's talking about collections and shit. I'm like, what in these? But it came up spam risk, but I saw it was a local number anyway, and so I didn't answer it. Then they actually left a voicemail this time, and he was really trying to scare me into giving him money for collections on the voicemail. It's funny,
dude.
There are a lot of
it's
scammers.
funny. It's got to be Moz or something, dude, because like there's another one that's about someone's DA hasn't changed in like a year and a half, dude. And like that just makes me think about what they're crawling and how much they're indexing, dude. Like if you're building a
lot of my sites DAs go down, like continually while traffic, maintains or grows.
It goes up.
DR will go up quite a bit quicker because they can actually crawl the links.
Crawl
I feel
more
like.
quickly.
Yeah.
I more and more like SEMrush has become my favorite SEO tool, dude. Like
it's the only one I pay for right now.
Really? Yeah, I just pay for Ahrefs, I think.
Yeah.
And then Mike pays for SEMrush, and we can cross streams.
Do you guys use Cognitive at all?
Oh,
Mm-hmm. I was using the shit out of it earlier today. Yeah.
Yeah, and that
one I like.
Touch it.
That one's good.
Yeah, just
I've used some other stuff like there's a few other
stuff.
There's other tools that have come out, and they're some of them are just more difficult to use. Like you can get like a full-on content brief, and then you
I
write
don't
it
care
up
about all that. I just want the keyword list so I can
all I
stick
give a
those son
crap
of a
about
bitches
are
in there.
focus terms, dude. Like straight up building my lexicon, dude, and nothing puts back the same stuff. Like you can do a better job than most tools by taking their keyword list and then deleting out the main terms from it and using those phrases, dude. Like that's like it just comes down to
you know what I did earlier? I'm testing for a national level rehab term. I won't give it out, but so I go and I get the keyword list from Cognitive, and I had some initial content on there, just like salesy content. So I was going to add this big ass content block on it. It was just an HTML lander, and so I go through and download it from Cognitive, search some of the main terms in there that I recognized that made sense. Grabbed a bunch of articles, and then made a mashup. And threw them in. First, I threw like 4 or 5 articles into
content editor,
Spin Rewriter, which I haven't used in forever because I wanted to see what I could get my score up to. So my score had to be like 84 or something. So I threw all of the articles that were spun back onto the page. I got it up to like 60 just by doing that. And then I went through and it was easy to add because there were plenty of content blocks there, and I got it like well over 90. In Cognitive for a national level rehab term. I mean, I don't plan on doing a ton of linking to it. I just did it to help me with local. But yeah, Cognitive is so easy to use. A caveman can do it. So
did it rank, Brad?
I don't know. I just did it today.
Well,
like literally just finished.
Does it rank?
Does it rank? But did you die?
Did you die?
Doesitrank.com.
How do .com and .me affect SEO?
I prefer to have a top level TLD if I can. .com.org.
Yeah, I say so. I think maybe that question .me or maybe you even want to throw in all the other like 99-cent TLDs. You can do the research on them. Like if they're associated with a ton of spam domains like XYZ, then that will 100% affect whether you're able to get a site moving or not.
Another
I
issue
like the premium domains.
I like
that
.ios, baby.
yeah, those are good, but like the premium domains that cost this like $20.
That's the .io. They're expensive, I think.
Well, .io, like clinic, some of these other
.io is like $49 now, dude.
Is it?
What I've seen with those though, Corey, is you've got to be careful because a lot of times some sites like Facebook in particular, I've noticed it like a .design, because I had web.design, something, not that one, but brand name plus web.design. Facebook would not fucking take it as they did not recognize it. They would not, like, you could not put it in the Facebook page. So I had to grab the same term as a .info and then redirect it just to get it into Facebook.
Well, either that or you just verify the domain in Facebook. They've got a domain verification now. You just put a code on the homepage. I don't know how long ago that was, but that's a good point.
It's been a year or so ago.
Yeah. So, but I mean, some of these premium top level domains, I think they even work into QDD. So you've got, if you can switch it up, you see just a bunch of .coms, you can rank a premium top level domain on there fairly quickly if you do it right.
I'm actually doing something with a .club right now as a test, actually, for that.
Beat you with a .club.
Yeah, you could beat Brad with it.
.club, Warhammer.club, bro.
Nice.
I have not been running many Facebook ads lately, Lucas. So
Cam told me I was wasting my time yesterday. Thanks, Cam.
With the painting stuff?
No, with I got ranked internationally in a tournament.
Fancy.
Did you make money?
No, dude, it's working towards.
You want to tell everyone what your brother did?
Dude, my little brother.
Speaking of .clubs, he's about to get clubbed over the head.
I did that. I set it up for him. So that was my fault.
All of a sudden, I get a notification. Your video's streaming live on NFG.
I streamed my brother onto NFG.
What the hell is this? And it's like Dungeons Dragons or something goofy. I'm like, this has got to be Mike. I was like, is this you? He's like, oh, shit.
That's legitimate good content for strategy right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just shit it out.
It was hilarious. It's just funny to me that I guess it's like seasons. I've noticed seasons where everyone stops understanding SEO. And it seems like we're in one of those seasons again. Or at least I'm just seeing it a lot right now. I don't know what it is. But,
I think in new people because of COVID and stuff, or people leaving their jobs.
It could be, but I think the one thing, like if you get to the point where you're like, I don't understand this crap anymore, Google, as we've noticed, like the trends in their patents are all moving the same direction. You've got these authority sites. The thing that you should know moving forward, no matter what happens, is do your content right and your internal linking structure right. There's 90% of the game, and then backlinks. It's at some point all you like. You can rank websites without actually going out and getting any backlinks.
Ranking without backlinks, Corey. That's so provocative.
Oh, isn't it? Yeah, it's
so clickbaity.
It is.
Then I will say, but you have the internal links, so you're lying.
Yeah. Okay. So you're right. External ranking without externals. But
however, you probably have a social profile, and you probably buy ads somewhere, so you have a link.
Okay, ranking without buying. No,
absolutely, dude. No, that's actually we talked about it.
But yeah, you're right. You're right. Like all that stuff.
Internal structure and then off page, dude. Like that's the way it goes.
Yeah, I saw someone promoting a ranking without links course one time, and then in part of the course they bought citations. I'm like, those are fucking links. I'm like, how can you say this is ranking without links? Then you just go buy these. What's that?
Rank without links. Go buy some links.
Get you some.
Here's the secret to ranking without links. You gotta fucking buy links.
But then we're gonna sell one that's rank without ever building a backlink.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just hire someone to do your internal link structure.
Yeah, you don't actually
pay someone for the backlink.
Yeah.
Right. Or you get natural, like you get some earned backlinks, and then all of a sudden. So I mean, but to that point, like rank without links, I don't think I've ever seen a site that has ranked significantally without some kind of backlink. Earned media or
paid media. I mean, dude, buying a freaking banner ad from Google, dude, is freaking
exactly. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I think people forget that an edge is an edge. Like literally everything is a backlink.
Yeah.
There's no internet without backlinks, dude. Like it's never going away. So
there's your next course, Mike.
There's no internet without backlinks.
If you build it, they will come. Mm-hmm. How does web designing? So basically, this is a big one for me because I've seen it a lot. I think Cam and I have had a lot of conversations about this too. Is will redesigning a website affect my SEO results?
Yes, most likely. We have seen it with the rehab client that we had. They wanted to do a redesign. I said I would prefer you not, and then they do it, and then it fucks everything up. And then they come back at us and wonder why it's jacked. I'm like, well, probably because you changed all the internal linking structure, the site-wide structure.
That's the thing. It's like, why? Well, because a redesign typically elicits all this different structure on site, how things get crawled, when things parse out, how high on the page they are, all those different things. It's so you could do it theoretically and have it not affect at all, but in the way it's commonly done by a designer who's looking.
But you can. I mean, if you change URL structures, I lost you there, Fletch.
Oh yeah, he's back now.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
We'll just talk about what you think I said. Yeah.
Yeah. No, changing structures, dude. Like that one way people should be looking at their sites if they're ongoingly taking care of a website is
ongoingly. Is that a word? It is now.
We got 2 Corys in here. Watch.
Really? Oh,
one of them stopped moving though.
The Corey bunch. But
one of them looks a little confused.
Yeah. This one right here. No, it's this one.
Looking like you take Just Lux. Like we went over this last time in detail in NFT Monthly, but we have a ton of different templates. Like the templates change based on like how PageRank flows, and we are modifying things based on an optimization of PageRank. And so when you look at, like, you say you have 5 different categories with different navigation in each category, and they're different layouts. When you see a ranking discrepancy there, you can pretty much see that there is a page rank discrepancy there as well. And it's time to reevaluate your template and to restructure modularity.
I have a question on that, Mike. So when you're talking about clusters, let's say you've got your pillar piece, and then you've got the supporting articles around it. Are you linking back and forth like both ways between? So from the pillar piece, do you link back from your pillar like back to the?
Yeah, a lot of the time there's a wheel involved for sure, dude. Sometimes
reciprocal though, like a reciprocal wheel. I mean, not just linking to each other around it,
but thinking of it like a navigational. So it would have to be
like navigational modular links. Yeah, absolutely. So like. A lot of the times, the primary pages will be either in a footer nav area that's a secondary footer to the main footer, and that will change based on the like. So in Just Lux, there's the best of luxury section, then there's the best of luxury watches, then there's the best of luxury hotels. The navigation, the secondary footer navigation changes based on where you are and in the website. So you might have like 10 links to those 10 primary pages, and then every single freaking thing in that category is going to link back to the primary of that category, right?
But the primary of that category, is that going to link to all of the subs underneath it?
Yeah, it does.
Like, so are you going back and forth?
To everyone, not necessarily a hub page style, no. But to its little target, yes. Like to a support, then yes, most likely it will. A lot of the time, it's a blog page type of thing where some of them will, and it changes. But what stays steady is the modular links there that build the main page rank to the top level and then gets passed out through everything. I'm going to add here really quick.
The SEO, the free one that we just put out, we had a question about what is, mininettraining.com. MININET TRAINING. Mininettraining.com.
I'll get all fancy.
Should have named it Clusterfuck SEO,
but yeah, no, I think
the wrong link, numbnuts.
So essentially, I can't do 2 things at once, fuckers.
Yeah, that's pretty fancy, Mike. Yep, well done.
There we go.
All right, dude, back to the question, bro. No, but seriously, like it's not necessarily a one-to-one on every support. It can be a one-to-one on every support. It just really depends on like where things need to convert. So like the page that we were going over ranked for best or designer shoes, right? And there's literally no external backlink profile for that page, and it's all just based on every page is pointing in the main category to that so like it's you got a subfolder that is best of luxury. Then you've got under that you've got subfolders of like designer shoes, luxury hotels, and all these other things. Well, everything throughout that has a footer nav to the top secondary sub. So like there'd be a footer nav to best or luxury hotels, a footer nav to designer shoes, and every support in there, whether it is specific to designer shoes or hotels, links to that top level sub, right? So that subfolder the folder like right beneath best of luxury, that page there for every category has a fucking link on every page in best of luxury. So there's a cross relevance kind of thing where you got support pages for luxury hotels linking to support pages or linking to the primary page for designer shoes, right? So, but they're all relevant because they're all best of luxury.
Hey, Joe.
So it's taking advantage of modularity, and you really need to see it to like understand it. But it works extremely well, dude. And I think people miss the boat on it a lot. We talked about it for like an hour and a half, and I tried to sum it up in like 2 minutes.
I need pictures. Your hands helped, Mike. Your fat fingers were kind of helping out.
Go look at justlux.com best of luxury. And that's where it's at.
That's where it's at.
That's where it's at.
Minionettraining.com. That's where it's at.
Traffic over to that site. That's where it's
right.
at. Yeah.
And that's Lux with an E, right?
Yeah, here I'll pull up.
Do a fancy link.
Hey,
again,
your
Mike.
burrito's done, Corey. Has that been cooking the whole time?
My burrito is hungry.
It's smoking over here.
Yeah. My kid tried to make a breakfast sandwich, the one that you like wrap it,
and it's gonna kill everything.
Paper towel and put it in the microwave. He's like, I had to throw it in the trash. I was like, why? He's like, it started smoking. I said, how long did you cook it?
I'm not gonna bother. I'm gonna drop it in for people.
No, Mike, I'm looking. So the footer, like it looks like the footer nav is different. So here we go. Best of travel, best of lifestyle, best of home living.
Then you've got different footers based on the category.
So, but that's a very physical silo. Like, and there's not a lot of like what's this built in, Mike?
That's custom, dude.
Yeah, it's custom.
I was gonna say because like not many CMSs come out of the box with the ability to build it like that. So, I think that like could you build a virtual silo the same way that would work that well?
Could all our development friends out there just build us the plugin that'll allow us to do that?
Right.
No, dude, it's not hard to do. Like if you can do it in WordPress really easily, dude, with widgets and sidebar widgets, dude.
Burritos burning.
You just make different navigations and include the widget on the sidebar.
See John run
not
by
hard
with
to do.
fire.
Right, but then you get into where it's like it's a virtual silo, not a physical one where you've got the same.
No, you can do. No, it's a virtual. This changes out. The template changes out.
Yeah, you can do virtual or physical, but yeah, I prefer to do virtual still.
So, but if you did a virtual,
you're going to display a widget that displays a menu based on the ID of the category you are in, and it will change out the navigation for that category when someone hits that category. So you can create it in WordPress really easy, actually.
Okay, what if you're in a different CMS? Like, let's say, so like if you're in Shopify and you don't have widgets like that, could you
fucking figure it out, Corey? That's what you do.
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing, Brad. No, could you paste it just at the footer, or like at the bottom of the article?
Yeah, you could absolutely.
Yeah. If you want to take the time to do it page by page basis, yeah. Absolutely,
you could do it page by page, and that's the way to do it. But that's too much time. But if you have to, I would do it that way because it's super targeted and relevant navigation that you can take advantage of the PageRank structure, like the PageRank flow. And people miss out on PageRank crafting like all the time, dude. Like there's the best way. It's like why that subfolder question about different languages. Like if you are told all of a sudden, look, we have to put up a new section on our website and we need it to rank fast. Then you do this with your hands. And but no, literally, then you create that subfolder and you get that in your top level navigation across the site. it's going to do way better than if you don't put it in the top level navigation.
That's
right?
a good way to get pages indexed as well. Just throw them in a site-wide.
Absolutely.
You rotate
like
that out.
Spam sites, we'd always just check the index and like you take stuff out of the sidebar based on what's.
Didn't we have a plugin at one point, or we were working on one that would just automatically rotate?
It rolls it based on what's indexed, and that's what people should do. Like optimally, if you want to get stuff in the index, you just make sure that it comes through that when it needs to be indexed and then goes out after it's indexed.
Well, and when we were using Lead Gadget a lot, that was actually one of their modules, and it would just kind of randomize it. So you put like 3 or 4 of those down the sidebar, which no one's ever going to see it anyway, and it would just rotate through it randomly for 30,000 pages. Yeah.
Like if you have a good crawl, just having a randomize is great, you know. But I think we went about 5 minutes over.
Well, Corey's question about modular linking.
It's a good question. I think people miss it all.
I'm not the only one thinking it.
I'm not the one drinking pesto.
Join NFT Monthly and watch the damn hour-and-a-half video.
Yeah,
you
people.
have access to it, Corey, so go watch it.
Okay, maybe I will.
No,
but if I just got everything I needed from Just Lux, I'm done. That's all I needed.
All you need.
Yeah, it's a lot easier going through 5 minutes of it than an hour and a half of him rambling.
Yeah, it's interesting, dude. Like, especially when you get into centralized and decentralized and start to build your navigation for PageRank based on conversion, dude. Like that's
well, when you're working with whether it be a client side or you've taken the time to build your own, working with a site like Just Lux, you can do a lot of cool shit at that point. You know, when we were working with CIC, we could do a lot of cool shit with that site too. Easily push shit that we wanted to.
Nah, it's crazy, dude. Like when you do certain like just modular changes, like I can see like revenue go up based on like different affiliate programs or whatever. Like it's just it doesn't take long because Google like literally will have like you tested in within 4 days, they'll figure out where you deserve to be, dude. And so
page 9 is where they tell me I deserve to be.
That's usually where you're at, dude. Yeah. I'm usually on 50.
Yeah,
but I get the negative 100 penalty all the time for fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think people out there, if you're listening, go look at what modular linking is. And
I mean, it's halfway covered. I mean, if you understand the Mininet stuff, the mininettraining.com, I mean, you have a somewhat of a foundation for modular linking, and it makes a lot more sense when you go back and listen to Mike and with his hand gestures and stuff. So. I hate
hand gestures too, dude. I just can't stop doing them.
Yeah.
But you're good at it. You should be a hand model. Hands. Yeah. You should be a hand model.
You got to throw that Illuminati symbol in there sometimes just to get people talking, you know, just in case somebody's watching.
Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Stupid.
I got to work on my flexibility.
Bye, people. I'm ending the broadcast.
See you guys.
See ya.